Good morning and welcome to Miss Vicky's Bookcase. I'm really sorry I missed last month. It was a bout of illness, if you can believe it. I went away with family and came back sick. No, it wasn't COVID, just in case you're wondering. It was just a sicky bug. So, moving on, because, don't want to listen about all the sicky things that have happened. I'm here today to do my monthly bullet journal setup. Now, because I'm going to the UK Board Games Expo in a couple of days' time, I decided I wanted a game theme for my bullet journal. And I couldn't decide between whether to just do one particular board game and just do it across the way, or whether to do different things. And as you could possibly tell in a couple of minutes, I did do a couple of different ones. I decided to start off with a Dungeons and Dragons-esque character sheet, and I actually did put my Dungeons and Dragons character in. And I kind of really like the idea and the concept of it. I thought I'll just do it in pen and then just do the lettering in a gold, and that way it stands out well. And then I kind of changed my mind. But we haven't gotten to that yet. So it's, I admit, I actually really like the lettering on this. I decided to go with my traditional lettering that I use all the time elsewhere. I really like it. It's very medievally and it kind of sat well with the beginning, and it's the lettering that connects the whole month rather than having the same thing that connects. Now, we'll just say that I did decide to do my character information in just an ordinary Steadliner pen. That was my mistake, because I did change my mind about just writing in pen, and you'll see the result on the next page, because I just didn't think about it. I impulsively made a decision and I regret it just a little bit. But before I did that, I was like, it's just a bit so I was like, let's just add a pop of colour. So we're just about to get to it right now. I do turn the page over after I've done the lettering and I'm like, well, it looks okay. I go back and I kind of end up, I thought I did a wash and it wasn't very dark, so I did it over again, and this is where my mistake was, because the blue did bleed onto the other side. It didn't kind of bleed a little bit on the actual proper side, but it was coming through. As you can see on the page, as you can see I'm painting the squares for the snakes and ladders. It showed through, and that was my mistake, because I'd been using an archival pen beforehand, which of course doesn't bleed. So let that be a warning to you, that if you want to impulsively do something, try and remember if you've done the drawing with a waterproof or an archive pen, because then you won't have the problem that I had, and it gets very bad at one stage. But thankfully, with what I do with the snakes and ladders, it actually kind of hides most of it, and thankfully where it bleeds through the most, it doesn't really matter. What I usually do, I put pictures of the books I'm going to read, and I then put pictures of the books that I've read. I find that so much better than just writing the title out. My eye just catches the attention of it a little bit easier. So anyway, back to the snakes and ladders. I decided that I'd go kind of retro for this. I could have done lots of different ideas. There were some really cool things that I thought about, but I thought, you know what? Snakes and ladders was part of my childhood, and I kept it very simple again. I just kept it with red and white. There are so many different coloured boards, but I was thinking I don't have much time for this month. The time is fast approaching where I just don't have time to do anything more intricate, which is why it's very simple. This didn't take me overall that long to do. I mean, I know you're seeing it as a speed, but I wouldn't say, other than the drawing of what I was going to do, which always takes ages, when I was doing the painting and the colouring, actually, that took minimal time, maybe a couple of hours. And for those of you who are wanting to do creativity, or rather if you just want a simple bullet journal, I don't suggest doing this, because it does take up quite a bit of your time. I enjoy it because this is part of my creativity process, and I just like looking at it. Even when I go wrong, I don't mind looking at it. It just makes me smile. I've got to that point in my life where I love to create things, and even if they go wrong, like it did in this, at least it makes me smile and I have fun memories of it. So what I did after I painted all, and I got very impatient, by the way. You can probably tell I was dabbing it a bit, and I was writing the lettering upside down because I was impatiently waiting it for it to dry. You can use a hairdryer. I'm just too lazy to go get it. And I decided that I would basically, if I say paint over it, I mean not paint over it, but I used the metallic markers to put in the ladders and the snakes, and I thought they worked out quite well. I could have gone over them with a pen as well, but I thought it looked just fine as it was. Now, moving on to the next page, I kind of did it something similar to what I did with the first page, because the first page wasn't my entire character sheet, it was just like a corner of it. And I kind of did the same with the next one. It's Scrabble, so this is my tracking page, and I do like to be a little bit different trying to track things. Last month's was a bit of a disaster, but we won't go there. And when I drew the squares in for Scrabble, I kind of confusedly didn't do the right board, so I decided, well, this is just kind of like part of the board. And on the other side, I decided I didn't want another Scrabble board, so I drew Scrabble tiles. And what the plan is each time on the right hand side, if I listen to something, I'll put a Scrabble letter on, and in the bottom corner I'll just write the date, so like it's giving me points. And on the left hand side, of course, is the Scrabble board. And again, I keep this very simple. I did put a tiny pop of colour in, but I decided not to do too much more than that, because the pens I use, I don't want the nibs to be wrecked, because I did use pencil. And if you use pencil with certain pens, it just goes horribly wrong. So I kept to just the yellow squares, and I'll just use a pen to go over. The plan is to write a word for each day that I do book reading. I thought that might be an interesting concept to track it. And again, in one of the corners, I'll just write the date in it, so I know that's the date of what I've done. So moving on to the last page, I think this might have been my favourite page, mostly because for some reason I felt really messy in the other pages, and this page just felt so much neater and tidier. I went with Uno again. I do remember playing that when I was a little younger, and I did enjoy it. And it was just such a simple thing, because I wanted to show what my favourite book of the month was, and it can be part of my Uno hand. So I enjoyed that, and I really enjoyed the lettering in this. I know it sounds weird, but this is I think I've already said it, this is my favourite lettering, and it kind of shows because I do this one all the time. I know calligraphy, the speaking, so to speak, you can just do this with one stroke with a pen. I've never been able to do that, so this is my alternative fake calligraphy. But I did enjoy it, and overall I'm kind of pleased with how everything did turn out. I was a bit worried with the snakes and ladders because it was just so messy. I don't know if you can really see it very well, but when I was painting, for some reason the paint seems to not have gone on to certain bits, and it looks really speckly. So my defense is it's going retro. We're having retro snakes and ladders. So I think we're almost there now, just finishing off the lettering, and we are going to go through the whole flip through. So here we go. So first of all, we have the title page, which is June. As you can see, things have gone a bit pear-shaped, but we're going to ignore that. And I kind of liked how it turned out. I just shouldn't be so impatient. Then we have the snakes and ladders, and actually that turned out really well. Now that I'm looking at it again, we had a bit of bleed through, but that's okay. It worked out fine. Then we have the tracking page where I have my Scrabble ready to go to put my lettering in. Scrabble, by the way, is my worst nightmare. And the book of the month page with my Uno, which I thought was really good. So I hope you have enjoyed the process for this month. It is a very quick one again, but sometimes you need quick. Maybe at some point I might do something longer. I hope you enjoy your day, week, month or whatever, and you feel inspired. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.